You are alive.
Is it Memorex? No, it's really me. We're here with the 2013 Toyota RAV4. We have some service work to do to it. Serpentine belt, plugs, plug boots, brake fluid flush, all the brakes, all the way around. If we come into anything interesting, we're going to bring you back and tell you about it. Let's go. All right, so to get in here on this 2013 RAV4, they put an access plate that you can move out of the way right here to actually get to the brake fluid reservoir. In here, there's a little screen that Toyota puts, well, most import places. Most import vehicles have one of these, a little microphone screen that you need to dig out. So, as you can get that down in there and siphon out the brake fluid. It's a vacuum pump, more or less, and it has a reservoir on it, and you can just stick it down in there. Is it down in there?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Oh, yeah.
And start pumping. Turn that so that it's pointing down, will you? There you go. And there it comes.
It's working quick.
Oh yeah, it works really quick. And you go ahead and you siphon out as much of the fluid out of this end as possible. Whoa, I think we're there.
Yeah.
All right, lift it up out of there. Don't drip it on the paint. Carefully.
Yep.
Careful. All right.
Come out in front on the plane.
Yep. You got it?
Yep.
All right.
Where do you want to dispose of this?
Hey, we need to find an oil. You come up, put it in an oil drain pan. All right, so you pull out until you get out as much as you can.
I think we were there. It looks pretty much empty.
Yeah, it's maybe
Well,
just a
let
little.
me do one more pump. Do it again. Keep doing it.
Yeah, I think we're there. That's good enough. All right, so we've got some, he bought fully synthetic .3 for us to use, and now we're going to take and fill up the reservoir again. Go and fill it all the way to the max because we're fixing to go to the back to do the flush.
We're slightly over max. Oh, is that the?
All right, so now we're in the back. We're going to go to the back right corner. All right, so we're going to come back here. We're going to get on the rear caliper. We have our hose going to a catch container. You put your wrench on and then slide your hose on, and then you have somebody go inside the car and mash the brakes and hold. You're basically bleeding the brakes, and you push all the fluid into this container through a hose right there. So I'm going to go get inside the car, and he's going to operate everything out here. Up.
Huh?
Pump.
Up the old?
Holding. Closed.
All right, we're getting some fluid now. Yeah, it's closed.
Holding. You know when you get it tight.
Got it.
Okay, I got pressure on.
All right.
Pedal up. Pressure.
Did you check the reservoir before we switch that?
I did not, but that is a good idea.
Look real quick.
And you want to keep an eye on your brake fluid. After about 3 times of pumping, you want to come out and check your brake fluid. Holding. So we got to do this completion of 4 times. Right rear, right front, left front. All right, I am fixing to go ahead and pull these coils out and go ahead and carefully try to get these unplugged. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You're being a little sticky there. Just lay them and push them to the back. Kind of get them out of the way. Now. Toyota provides you this handy dandy little tool and parts tray right up here in front of the windshield. Now we can see about just popping them out. Make sure there's no oil on them. And there's not. Cool. No oil. No oil. Perfect. And you can look down in each cylinder hole and you can see that there's no debris and that there's no oil going to be let down into each cylinder. It's nice and dry down in there. This vehicle has 133,000 miles. He takes good care of his stuff. All right, so while we're here, we'll talk about these plugs. As you got the first one out, doesn't look bad, but you can tell that it is worn after 133,000 miles. If I can get my camera to focus. Come on, camera. There it goes. What my guy bought to put in is the new ultra high ignitability NGK ruthenium plugs, which I have used these in this RAV4 motor on our old RAV4. NGK top quality, top notch. Got the new NGK spark plug boots and upper seal. Got 4 of those. So we're gonna get after it. Finish the spark plugs up. All right, so your tightening instructions on these spark plugs, you take it down until it just barely, until it just touches. And then it's half a turn to 2/3 of a turn after it touches. Quarter, half, and you can feel it get good and snug. And that is per the instructions on the box that come with the plugs. Don't have to have a torque wrench, you just need to follow the instructions. Okay, so we're moving on to installing the coils, and if you look right there, see if you can make that out. I'll move in closer. You see how there's some cracks developing in those boots? That's why we changed them. NGK is a good aftermarket alternative to going to the dealer, in my opinion. There's some people that don't particularly care for that, but that's okay. You have the little top boot seal, and you have, whoop, I can get it out of the packaging. There we go. Little boot, and all it does is just pop on, and there you go. And drop it straight down in there. Now we just do that 3 more times. All right, so now we are on to take this shield down, because we are fixing to move on to doing coolant drain, coolant hoses, serpentine belt system, and all of that stuff. We may end up having to remove the alternator just for ease of access to get to the thermostat housing. But if we do, we'll bring you along for that, show you how to do it. But now we got to get out all these 9,000 push pins and a few bolts. All right, we got the splash shield out. We're going to go down here and drain the radiator. You have I took a piece of 3/8 fuel hose, shoved onto the nipple, and you can see the screw right there, the drain plug. And it's right there over my coolant drain pan. That's a quick tip you can use. I use a square drain pan for coolant. I use round for oil and everything else. That way it doesn't get confused and it doesn't get all nasty. So let's get up here and start draining. All right, so while we're letting the coolant drain out, I am looking at the serpentine belt system. I thought we would do a quick unboxing. This is a Gates kit, and it is, let's look at the end, the 2013 RAV4 2.5 liter. It says 90K-39106. I assume that is a part number, 39106. It's supposed to be a complete kit, and it is made in the USA. Good stuff. Good quality serpentine belt. the Micro V, made in the USA. And there's your tensioner pulley. And this kit is, this box is set up so that if you had tensioners, if you had the stationary idlers, it would come with this. This is a pretty simple belt system. You got the alternator, it's got a decoupling pulley, compressor, water pump, and it goes around the crank. And that's it.
You're live.
Okay, so slight problem happens. It's my fault. I told him what brake pads to order for the front. I was not aware that the XLE and the LE used two different rotors. So if you have a 2013 RAV4 and you're doing the brakes, it's something you need to keep in mind. Rear brake pads, from what I can tell, are exactly the same on all the models. The front, the XLE had a 296 millimeter rotor and the LE had a 275 millimeter rotor, and it makes a difference in the pads by about that much. So fortunately, the pads on the front of this vehicle, he wants new pads on it, but these are not completely worn out, so we put the old pads back on and got everything buttoned back up, and we moved on to doing the hoses and thermostat. Come over here, big guy. We went ahead and pulled the alternator out of place to make it a little easier to get to this thermostat housing down here.
Focus.
There it is. It's going to focus. All right, so we got the, like I said, the thermostat housing out, and he has a new plastic housing. It's a good idea to replace that. It fatigues over time. He bought what's called a fail-safe thermostat to replace the factory thermostat. And we have the upper and lower radiator hoses, which they're not officially upper and lower radiator hoses. It's like a left and right. They kind of both lower hoses the way the system is set up. This is an AC Delco, so made in the USA, quality hose. It has these, this is the new style heat shrink clamps. Pretty good stuff. They don't get loose, and it's better than dealing with those stupid spring clamps. They're kind of a pain in the butt. They work, but they're a pain to deal with. What else did we haven't put the serpentine belt back on yet. We've got that torn down. I'll put that back together in a few minutes. The main thing I want to talk about right now was this thermostat. We put it back in. It has a little what they call a tickler valve. If you can look right there, you can see it wiggling around. That is to let any air in the system burp and bleed through. You should make sure that you place the tickler valve up, facing up when you install the thermostat. So that's your update for right now. We're gonna get back to work, try to get going. All right, well, we've got it put back together. We got the new hoses on it. Both the radiator hoses are on. Got the, you probably can't, yeah, you can kind of see it down there.
There
Yep,
it is.
it's a Gates, and it's a Gates hose, USA made. And of course, he went and bought the correct pink 50/50 coolant from Toyota. That way you don't have to guess and wonder if it's the right coolant. It is the right coolant, it is the right mix, and there's no need to do any kind of flush on this system. When I took everything apart, this thing is crystal clean, perfect. No flush was required on this system, just renewing the coolant so that the corrosion, keep the corrosion down. And but we have it put back together. We have run it, we have burped it, and got the coolant back to where it should be. And we're fixing to go drive it. I think the only caveat we had with this whole job was where had him order the wrong brakes. So, but I'm going to order some from Rock Auto, and I'll just head over to his house one Saturday and throw them on for him. So let's go for a road test. We are rolling, and we're going to go up here and do a quick stop, take our hands off the wheel and make sure it stops straight still, even though we hadn't put front brakes on it yet. Still want to make sure that nothing's changed. It is stopping straight and not trying to throw you in the ditch, so temperature is running right at halfway. Smooth stop, no shimmy shake of the steering wheel. All right, well, that's going to do it for the service on the 2013 RAV4. We went for a test drive. We came back. We checked to make sure that there wasn't any leaks. Everything looks hunky-dory. Belt's tracking perfectly. Stops fine. And we're going to get those front brake pads on order. So, till we can get out our next video, why don't you go watch another one coming on the screen right now.